Hey guys, MC Stu here, and today we are going to take a look at the Tailor and armor unlocks different skins for your ground characters in Star Trek Online. Before we jump into it, as always, I want to say thank you for the subs, the follows, the likes, the thumbs up, all of the things. You guys are awesome, and as always, I just want to say that I really appreciate that. This week's video, we are going to be giving a shout out to 1-800-BROKEN-SOUL. He is another YouTube content creator for Star Trek Online. Definitely jump over to his channel, check him out. Great guy, and I think you guys will really enjoy what he's putting out. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about what we're going to be looking at in the video today. So we're going to start with taking a look at where the different Tailor locations are. I'm just going to hit the main social hubs. There are a few that I'll mention, but I'm not going to go there, like Drozana Station, also Ryza. There's probably a couple others that I'm going to be forgetting. We're going to be taking a look at where these locations are on Deep Space Nine, on Kronos, on New Romulus. There's also one that we won't go to, but there's one at the flotilla for Romulan characters as well. And obviously Earth space dock as well. So we'll go ahead and start off with taking a look at where those are at, how to get to them. We'll talk about how to use the Tailor. There's some kind of nuanced layers to that. It's kind of a mini game of sorts in some instances, and I'll go on more about that when we get into it. We'll take a look at how to unlock different costumes from the rep system and other sources, and then we'll also take a look at some of my favorites and some of the kit bashes that I've put together. So we're on Deep Space Nine right now, so we'll just go ahead and start here. Here is the transporter room where you will come to when you beam onto the promenade. So you have your bank and exchange there, your shipyard. So what you're going to do is you're going to hang to the left here, and we're going to run about halfway around it, past Quarks. And you'll see the stairwell right here, and we'll go ahead and turn in. We have a Tailor here, and you can just click on her or the button, and that'll allow you to access the Tailor. Let's go ahead and jump over to, we'll do Kronos last, 'cause I'll have to change characters for that. So let's go ahead and jump over to Earth space dock. All right, here we are on ESD, Earth space dock. We are on the transporter pad. So to get to the Tailor, we're going to go ahead and head out to the main area here. You have your shipyard down to the right, exchange right across, and we're going to head right over to where you can see all the mannequins with the uniforms. Most of you probably are aware where this is at. As always, most of these videos are really for new players, and sometimes you'll find there will be some nuggets in there for players that have played for a while but are unaware of certain little things. You know, like we always talk about, this game is just so complex. There's so much stuff. I mean, I spent, I don't know, 15-20 minutes refinding some of my gear because of the way that these Tailors are laid out. And again, we'll get into that here shortly. So here's your Tailor on Earth space dock. Let's go ahead and jump over to New Romulus and take a look there. Okay, we've just beamed down to New Romulus Command Center. We're in the transporter room. We're going to head out into the main promenade area here, and we are going to hang to the left. And we'll just work our way down the hallway here. And try not to get caught on stuff. That's what happens when you one-hand it. And we are going to find the Tailor here. So when you're running around these places, this is the icon you're looking. If you look on your map, if you're unsure, if you're on a particular social zone trying to find one, you're looking for this icon here. It looks like a little uniform, and you would just click on your customized clothing or on this guy here in order to access the Tailor on New Romulus. Let's take a look at Kronos. Okay. Here we are in the transporter room on Kronos. We are going to go ahead and head out the door. And we are going to hang to the left once we get out into the main courtyard here. So we're going to hang to the left. Go around this big old pillar, and you'll have the fighting rink here in the middle. There's the bar across the street, and there's some tables here with vendors. On Kronos, he has like a little flea market stand out here. And this is where you would access the Tailor on Kronos. So those are all your main social hubs. Like I said, there is a couple other ones like Drozana Station, Ryza. There's probably a couple others around that that I'm missing. The Flotilla is another one. But these are all your main social zones for each of the factions of where to go to access the Tailor. So why don't we go ahead and start with the KDF side here. What we're going to do is we're going to take a look at some of my favorite armor sets and costumes and the unlocks for them. A lot of my stuff I had to go back and kind of adjust it because I really like the kit bash. That can get kind of weird, but we'll talk about that a little bit. So my KDF character here, she is actually wearing a mixture of rep, unlock, costume, and also Jemadar costume unlock. So the boots, the helmet, the shoulder pads, the cape all comes from the Omega rep, and the rest of it is from I think they actually gave it away. It's in the C store, but they gave it away for the Jemadar outfit. They gave it away at one point as just an account unlock. I don't know if that's still going on or if that was just a part of one of the anniversary events or something like that. But I personally like to really kind of kit bash these and kind of make them my own. There's some other people out there like Air Stew. They have just some really creative stuff. Everything from, Buzz Lightyear to Cyclops and Wonder Woman, and they just do a fantastic job at being creative with it. You can also do things that are themed for particular characters, factions, and there's just a ton of stuff in these tailors where you can be screen accurate in almost any kind of sense. So let's take a look at the KDF side here. So like I said, this is a kit bash that I have on her. So when you come in, you're going to have a couple different slots available to you. You can unlock additional slots. So let's say we want to adjust this one here. So I actually have two different ones, one with the helmet and one without, so I can change it. And why don't we just take a look at that before we really dig into this here. So if you click on your character, right click on it, and you click on change outfit, you can actually change on the fly any saved outfits that you currently have slotted. So, if you're role playing or you're doing something, you're going to Ryza, right, or the winter event, I can switch over to, some clothes for that. Or, if I'm messing around and I just want to take the helmet off, these first two slots are the exact same outfit, just one doesn't have a helmet. So I can go from what I'm normally wearing to just taking the helmet off. So that's a quick way to switch between different costumes that you have saved. Just right clicking on your character icon up top and it'll give you a list. As far as I know, there's not a way to label these. If there is, let me know. I'd be interested to know on that, because sometimes I'll have to scroll through quite a few on some of my characters to figure out what I'm looking for. So let's jump back into the Tailor here. So let's say it's your first time, you just have one slot, just the stock, whatever. You're going to click on that one slot that you have, and you're going to click on modify. Now, once this loads and we get in here, it's going to have basically kind of a sales screen here, and you can, skip through that or use it or whatever. One useful thing is to uncheck this item here. Okay. There is a ton of stuff available in the Tailor, and with this check, this shows things that you don't own as well. If you are interested in looking through some things and seeing maybe you want to make a purchase, leave that clicked and you can check it out. Some things are attached to a bundle, so you have to buy like a huge bundle and stuff like that, so it makes it a little bit harder to get some of those things. So generally what I start with when I'm putting one together is I jump over to uniform. I kind of figure out how I want that to look, and then I'll adjust the body and the head after that. You can go about that however you want. So we have different categories here, right? So this is going to be unlocks or things that you've purchased. And this is where things get really weird. And we'll get into this more when I get back over to the Fed side, because I have more stuff unlocked and I can kind of demonstrate this. But currently I have the Honor Guard unlock category selected, but it still allows me to slot Jem'Hadar stuff, right? And there's a ton more stuff than just Jem'Hadar when you're looking at like tight clothing. There's some items, and Jem'Hadar is one of them, where it shows up in pretty much any category that you pick for the most part here, which is really kind of a weird thing. So you can switch to these different categories and see we have the Jem'Hadar again here. So if I wanted to stick with what this category was, I'd have to go through and select all of it out. And this is really where, and like I said, once we get to the Fed side, this is where it really kind of gets weird here, and you're just going to have to play with it. And I don't have all the answers on, what's slotted where. There's certain unlocks that you get that'll have their own category, and then there's other unlocks you'll get, they're just under uniform. Uniform's kind of the general thing, and what you'll do is say category for uniforms. You can do, armored, bare chest, loose, tight, and if you click on say loose and then you click on upper, you're going to have a whole bunch of stuff here that you can pick from. If I recheck this button so I can see what I don't own, that list can get bigger. Now again, on the KDF side, this isn't, you're not going to have as much stuff as what you have on the Fed side, but it's still a pretty huge chunk of stuff that's available. So the main thing I wanted to show off is this is my first kit bash that I really enjoy for the KDF side, and that is this armor guard. I just prefer having the chest armor and pants from that Jem'Hadar kit. I think it just goes with it real nice and looks good. You can also, depending on the character, so for instance, this is an Orion, and Orions are going to come with a little more spicier clothing, right? So this is not going to be available for, say, a Federation female character. This is only going to be available for Orions because it is screen accurate, as we saw them quite a bit in the shows and movies. So there are some of those different nuances as well, where you're just not going to have the same kind of options on all the different kinds of characters. Remans, for instance, I believe have a hood available to them stock, and those kinds of things. So the Tailor system is very complex. Let's take a look how we got this, and we're just going to call this the armor guard. Like I said, I know I kit bashed it a little bit underneath, but the main gear, the cape and the helmet and stuff, let's take a look at where that came from exactly. So if we take a look at our rep system here, pretty much all of the reps are going to have a Tailor unlock, okay? And you can kind of see a little bit of a preview when you click through these screens here. Now, the Omega one is actually different on the KDF side than it is on the Fed side. It has a different look. So the Fed ones are these ones in the back here, and then you have your KDF one shown in the front. So if you click into your different projects, in order to unlock these, what you need to have is a 3-piece of these, and you'll see on most of these it'll have this little icon next to it where it'll say it includes a style, but what you'll need to have is the armor, the weapon, and then also the shield. Once you purchase these, that will unlock that armor guard category or add it into the selections under uniform for you to then use. You do not have to wear this armor in order to have it available to you. So this particular character is not wearing any of that gear from the rep system to look like this. I could wear it. It won't make any kind of difference on how it looks when you actually equip the gear. It only unlocks it in the Tailor and allows you to go ahead and configure an outfit with that. So there's a lot of kits that I'll get where I'm not interested in the armor whatsoever, other than just to be able to unlock a new costume for a particular character, and that is what I have done here. This is one of the only ones that, well, not one of the only ones, but it is the only one that they had for KDF that had a KDF helmet on it and the cape. So this was a really cool one. It's really easy to get a lot of the Omega marks, and so it was pretty inexpensive, obviously, to get. Let's take a look at that cost. Generally, you're going to have 500 marks for each piece. And then for the dilithium, these are going to be 9,000 dilithium in order to get those. And then you will need, some of these require, they require also the elite marks here, and that's going to be 5. So in order to unlock this outfit or any of the ones through here, you're going to need, what? Gonna do some quick math in my mind. You're gonna need 2,700 omega marks. I'm sorry, dilithium. You're gonna need 1,500 omega marks, and you are going to need 15 of the Borg nano neural processors, the elite marks that you would get from running an elite TFO. So not too bad. You could grind that out in a couple days and get pretty much whatever you are looking for in the rep system here. Let's go ahead and jump back over to my Fed character, and we'll take a look at the last couple of the uniforms that I like here. All right. So what we're going to do is we'll take a look at this kit bash here. I get a lot of questions. This is the main cosmetic armor set or costume that I wear on my main. I really like it. It's a huge just kind of kit bash of stuff all put together, and I get a lot of questions of exactly what it is. So we'll go through piece by piece on this one, and then we'll just take a look at a couple of my other favorites and see what you guys think of that. So I'm over here in the corner, especially on ESD. When you look around, it looks kind of bright enough, but the lighting really kind of sucks here, and so you kind of got to find the right little spots so you can light up your costume, because you'll find too that some pieces of your costume, the material will be different and you can't get the same kinds of colors. And so a lot of times I'll have to do my best guess in the Tailor, because the lighting in there is also different than when you're out and about, and put it on and then leave the Tailor, go find some good lighting and take a look and see if that really, turned out nice together. So this corner over here, also if you're over at the shipyard down around the corner, the stairs have some lights underneath them. So if you face that, or the stair or the step underneath the actual vendors at the shipyard, there's a light underneath that and it lights up really well there. But I mean, if I even just move a little bit away from this, light, everything always just looks really shadowed. And some lights actually don't even give off light. It looks like they do, but they don't actually light up your character. So it's really kind of a bizarre thing, but it's just something that we have to deal with. So let's go ahead and take a look at this kit bash here. We'll go through this. This is a mixture of rep gear and of, let me get to the right one, of lobi gear as well. So this one's going to be a little bit more expensive. All right, here we go. So on the uniform, what I'm using is I'm using 3 different pieces really. So I'm using on the helmet is from a lobi set, and let's take a look at that. So if we go over to head, and this is one thing I had a hard time when I was putting together some of the other pieces that I was going to show, is that you'll click on this and it'll give you some options for some helmets that you have, right? But they're all not there. And so I had a really hard time finding it. Well, you have to click on the category of helmets and wraps. And then that will then unlock your head coverings for you to then pick from and pick through different stuff. And so what we have here is the Zot Vash helmet. This is a armor that you can purchase from the Lobi store. I don't think it's a costume. I think it's an actual armor. So in the Lobi store, there are some Tailor unlocks that you can buy, some costumes that are just costumes. It just unlocks for that one character. And then there's also some actual pieces of armor that you can get, or sets of armor, and those will also give you a cosmetic unlock as well. And those will come from the Lobi store. So I'm using the Zot Vash helmet on this. And then for the uniform, I am mainly underneath all of this. So the pants, the arms, the armor, I am using the Terran Task Force unlock. And that comes from the rep system as well, just like we went over with the KDF Honor Guard. So that's making up kind of the base of all of this. And then for the chest piece, I'm using the Discovery Security Vest, and this came from it's from a bundle in the C store, where it actually comes from the what is it? It's that cybernetic, that android girl from Discovery. I can't remember what her name is, or if it's her. but it has that weird kind of helmet that it's wearing. It's actually a duty officer that comes in the bundle, and the duty officer gives you this unlock and allows you to have access to this. So like I said, Star Trek Online has tons of layers across the board when we're looking at ships and stuff, and the Tailor system here and the costumes is no different. In fact, it's almost more complicated because there's, in a lot of it, there's not a rhyme or reason to some of this stuff. And so it can make things kind of difficult. Lastly, on this, I'm using the Kobali boots. These come from the Phoenix packs, and I believe it is the blue ones. So the rare token that you can get when you go into the store, it'll be under that, and it comes with more of a kind of a robe looking kind of thing, with some shoulder pads. It's okay, but the boots are great, and the boots you can use on pretty much anything under the uniform system or section. So all of this outfit is being built obviously under the uniform category. So we have the Zot Vash helmet. We're using the Discovery security vest. We are using the Terran Task Force arms and pants, and then the Kobali boots, and then the thing around the leg, that's just a one of the stock items it gives you down here if we're looking at hip attachments. And that's just something that's stock that everyone will get. The backpack that I'm using here is also from the Terran Task Force as well. And then I just, sorted the colors however I wanted there. And I went with more of this kind of darker, blackish, flat black kind of security kind of look that I like, kind of tactical, I guess. And you'll see that theme through most of my kit bashes, or the way that I color things. I don't have a real good eye for it, so this is easy, and I like it. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the next one here. Oops, I clicked the wrong button. Put one wrong button click on the ticker there. So here's the actual Zot Vash armor set, the whole unlock here all together. The helmet's cool. The chest piece is kind of cool. The rest of it, though, is kind of weird. And I don't like either how the pants, and this is one where you can really see it here, this material is not quite the same as the rest of it. So I'm not a huge fan of all of it. I mean, to be honest, I got it for the helmet. You can also see it looks like my beard on this particular one is sticking through the bottom of it, which is kind of weird. And that's just going to happen sometimes. Sometimes you'll get some really weird stuff in here where I don't even know exactly what they've done, but their legs and their arms are invisible. So there's some really kind of weird and glitchy stuff here. So let's take a look at a couple more of the unlocks from the rep system. My two favorite ones I have put together here. Let's go ahead and jump into this. So this is not the Terran. This is the Counter Command. I used this one for quite a while. I think I had more of a darker kind of black on it before. If you look at some of my older videos, I use this quite a bit. Most of my duty officers are wearing this. Any of these unlocks as well, for the most part. I think there's a couple exceptions. You can apply all of this stuff to your duty officers. You don't have to have multiples of the actual hardware itself, because it just unlocks it, and you can go over to duty officers and add it to there. So I really like this one. It's kind of a, I don't know, futuristic kind of sporty kind of look, but it's one of my favorites. This is all personal preference, so I just kind of wanted to show a couple of these off and where you get them. So this will cost you the same amount of resources, just in the other flavor of marks, for this Counter Command unlock from the rep system. All right, next we have is this the Delta? I apologize. Let's look at this one, because this one was one of the weird ones that showed up in a weird place. So these are the little nuanced things. If you get any of this stuff and then you can't find it, whoops, here's what you're going to have to do. So if we go into modify on this, and this one took me a while to figure out how to find my helmet. That was the one I was having the issue with. So this one is also under uniform, which is weird, right? Because like the Delta Alliance or the Counter Command, they have their own category. But for the Terran Task Force one here, there's no category for it, which is weird. That's not in sync with the way most of these other ones are. And it's just kind of hit or miss all over the place. If you guys have an answer, if there's a rhyme or reason behind this, definitely let me know. The nice thing about it, though, is that if it does not have its own category, that means you can kit bash it with everything else in there. It would actually be nice. It'd be harder to find it because you would have to dig through every little piece, and when you look at some of these lists, they get pretty darn big. Not to mention this is in a subcategory of your overall category, right? So having the categories up top here predetermined for the different sets is nice to be able to find it, but if you select from these, you're going to be limited to what is in this unlock and with some other unexplainable exceptions like the Gemidar stuff, right? There's some stuff that just shows up everywhere, and I don't know why. So on this particular unlock, if you unlock it and you don't see a category show up here, you're going to need to go to uniform and then look through. So you're going to have to determine most of the unlocks are going to be tight. So you'll pick tight, and then you'll have to go through and find it within here. So the Zot Vosh also showed up under uniform, and that's why I was able to kit bash that together. The Kobali boots also show up under uniform, and you'll notice on a lot of mine, I use these boots on anything that I can that kit bash, just because I think they really look good. They got a nice, beefy kind of tactical look, and that's my thing. I know it's not exactly canon, obviously. I mean, a lot of this stuff obviously isn't, but it's all personal preference. If you hate that and you like to go a different direction, then great, you do you, and that's totally cool. So I really like this one as well. I like the helmet that comes with it. All right, let's take a look at the next one here. And we just want to cancel, not cancel out of the whole thing. Okay, so these next two or this next one is going to be a kit bash. We already looked at my main one that I've been using. The last combination of things that I was using is going to be this one here. And this is a kit bash from the Discovery rep, and then also just some stock gear. And this is one where it actually kind of worked out okay, because this shoulder chest piece, it's all one thing. It has a really weird texture to it. And so if you try and make this black, it ends up being like this tarnished kind of shiny looking black, and it's really hard to match with anything unless you're going with lighter colors. And again, you don't need to write this down. You'll experience this when you're looking through this stuff. So, but this is what I wore for quite a while prior to the Zot Vosh helmet coming out and doing a rebuild there. But again, the Kobali boots. Let's look at the breakdown just in case you're interested. My free-to-play is wearing something similar to this, but I built it around that tarnish kind of gray look. And it actually went together pretty good. So I did go with a darker color on that, and I went with darker colors on the rest of it, but more of like a grayish kind of a look. And it's a Gemidar, so I was able to use that Gemidar arm shield that they have, and it turned out looking really, really cool, I thought anyways. A lot of these can be kind of love it or hate it, and I get that. So if you hate it, go ahead and let me know. That's fine. All right, uniform. Let's take a look at what we got here. So again, we're under the uniform section. That's going to be the easiest place to kit bash. I really had to shrink the head and the forehead on this because this really kind of balloons out. So I actually reduced the head size on this quite a bit. So you can manipulate in this game a ton of stuff, and we'll take a look at that here after we just kind of go through this particular setup here. So we're using, to start with, what are we using here? So the upper, a lot of this is actually stock stuff. So we're using the Gamma Type 2 suit. This is under the tight category. This is stock stuff that I used for that. Berman's EV. For the gloves, this comes from the Discovery rep unlocked. Same with the helmet on that. We're using Terran Task Force for the backpacks. Nice little cool little add-on. I use that on quite a bit of stuff as well. I don't have a badge. Some things it will slot, but it'll either be underneath or it'll just clip through some. So you'll find those kind of issues when you're bashing stuff together like this. I'm using the Gemidar Tactical is what it says, but it's these, I don't know if they're little Ketracel whites or what they are, but put those on just for a little extra effect there. For the chest piece, and that is this piece up here that we were talking about, we're using the Tactical Soldier 3. And again, that's a stock item as well. There's quite a bit of different stuff. So you can see kind of without that, that's what the base uniform looks like. And that's all stock stuff that you have access to right away, which makes it very nice. There's enough stuff in here for free where you can put together some pretty cool stuff without even having to unlock things. If you do unlock things like I did here with the helmet and stuff, you can just kind of give it that little bit of extra flair there to top it all off. So again, using the Kobali boots, like I said, I use those quite a bit because most of the rest of them, I mean, these just look like either tennis shoes or dress shoes or just real kind of, I don't know, something that would be on, I don't know, not a sci-fi soldier, let's put it that way. So the Kobali boots just have that just right look to me, and they're pretty versatile. You can use them on quite a bit of stuff, at least if you're into the kind of look that I am, that is, I guess. For the lower, we're using the Gamma Type 2 as well, so the other half of the top set. And then for the belt, what are we using here? This is another stock piece of gear that you get. It just comes unlocked just to add a little bit more of that tactical kind of effect to it. And then right hip, I used a pocket just to kind of give it a little bit more of that kind of tactically look, I guess you could say. So again, this stuff's also subjective, and I'm not really trying to say here's how to copy exactly what I'm doing. If you want to, you can do that, but just kind of give you a little bit of an introduction to the system and kind of go over some of the little nuanced weird things. Like I said, I don't have the answer for every different question, but hopefully this will give you enough to be able to kind of dig through and figure it out. The main thing to know is just that if you unlock something and it doesn't show up here, click on uniform and start digging is basically kind of the bottom line there. There's some other really kind of cool things you can unlock from the C store, like, club wear, where you can put on, a full suit. There's ties and different things like that, and you can put together some really cool stuff. You can randomize it if you want by, clicking the button here, and it'll just kind of swap things around and make things look different. And I've seen some people do some really nice things with the club wear. The girls have dresses, mini skirts, and and those kinds of things, which look pretty nice as well. That come from that same unlock from the C store. All right, let's go back to this and see if there's anything else we're missing. I did want to go over also on my engineer. I'd put it in a video talking about her unlock. This was on the rep system in general, and I got quite a few questions on that as well. So let's take a quick peek at that, and I think that will finish it up for our Tailor run through crash course. All right. Well, we're still on Ryza from the event here, so I guess we can take a look at where that Tailor is. I had her just parked here doing the Ryza event, and she was still sitting there. So you generally beam over or beam down right onto this pad over here. If you come out and down where I'm standing and you head on over here, this is where you will find the Tailor on Ryza. So this happens to be where you're closest to, and you don't want to go anywhere else. You can just jump down here and do it as well. And let's take a look at her costume that I was referring to. Let's take a look at, we'll take a look at it and then we'll take a look at where it comes from. So let's talk to the Tailor. All right. Okay, so what I'm using here is the Iconian set. And I think this looks really good. In the Tailor, it looks pretty good, but when you're out and about with the different sheens and the lighting and the color and stuff like that, I think it looks even better than it does in the Tailor. So that's something you have to kind of take into account. If you're looking at something, you need to really kind of hop in and out of the Tailor to really see how is it really going to look when I'm running around. Am I going to enjoy it? It might look great in here and you get out and things just don't quite match right. Materials are different, or maybe the color just looks, different than it otherwise would. So I'm using basically the full set here. I've just added the badge onto it for the Iconian Resistance set. Like I said, I really like the way that this one looks in different kind of lighting and that kind of thing. It looks really, really good. In the Tailor, the colors that I picked don't look real great. I've seen some other people do like golds and things like that, and it sounds kind of weird, but I thought I purchased that. It ends up looking really, really good. And let me go back in and actually put it on. Here's a kit bash I was messing with, but the bottom of it is part of the club wear that you can get from that. All right, let's see here. Modify, we want to wear it. So you can switch in here by picking one and then clicking wear, and that will equip it. I guess I could have also just right-clicked on the top here and selected it. So it has a little bit more of a shine when you're actually out and, you know, not in the Tailor. In the Tailor, it looks like kind of just rubberized flat completely. But when you're out and about and you're getting all the different kinds of lighting, it actually has somewhat of a shine. It's kind of weird. It's like flat with a hair of shine to it, which is kind of a oxymoron. But in any case, I think it looks really good. I don't know so much that this looks that great on the dudes. Just being so form-fitting, I don't know. It's not my thing. Might be your thing, and that's totally cool. But I really like this quite a bit. I think this is the first one that I actually unlocked ever in the game. Actually, I take that back. It was the Omega. Yeah, the Omega on my Fed character, which that one looks pretty good as well. I'll have to do a full review video just going through all of them. I have most of them, but not every single one. Yeah, so anyways, guys, I hope that was helpful. I know it's kind of all over the place. The system, though, is just so... I mean, let's be honest, it's just jacked up. You know, I mean, it's old, it's been added to, there's layers and layers and layers, and that can make things kind of complicated. But at the same time, the silver lining is that, I mean, there's just so many possibilities, just like everything else in the game. That's why we all love it. Yeah, it's complicated, and yeah, it doesn't explain everything. And I think the answer really to that is they can't. There's just no way. You'd spend the first 6 months of playing the game going through tutorial after tutorial after tutorial. There's just so much, and then there's so many little caveats and stuff. And, you know, so I mean, that makes that learning curve kind of harder. I hope that, you know, my videos help you guys with this. I know sometimes what'll happen, and I know it happened to me, is I'll watch a video and it leaves me with more questions than answers. But that also expanded my, you know, my view on, you know, how much more was there that I didn't even know. I tell the story every now and then. You know, I played this game through, I maxed out a couple characters, finished most of the storylines, and I thought, man, I'm done with this game. You know, is there anything else to do? And, you know, that was 3 years ago, and I didn't even scratch the surface, and I thought that, you know, that was it. So there's just so much in here. So, you know, like I said, I know sometimes these videos are just kind of rambly and there's, you know, they're not real organized. It's just, it's tough to do that unless I just make extremely specific, short, you know, videos that only cover tiny bits. And I think it's just easier to give that broad kind of overview, give you the tools, I hope, to at least be able to dig into this stuff and figure it out for yourself. Because that's really where you're going to, you know, be able to make unique things and really kind of learn the game and all the different aspects of it. So, all right, guys, I appreciate you guys watching. Again, make sure you jump over and check out 1-800-BROKEN-SOUL. Until next time, stay safe, and thank you for watching.